starting on time. And we're finishing on time. So upcoming events for October and November, you know, we've got a sales meeting 2 weeks from today, and then we have our retreat November 2nd, Wednesday at a Colorado Golf Club. So please RSVP if you plan on coming to that. So because we do have a lunch provided and a happy hour provided as well. We want to just make sure we get the proper head count to the place. If you've not been to Colorado Golf Club before, it's road, go east about 100 yards and make a right-hand turn into the Colorado Golf Club. Pretty easy to find, but if you've not been there before, it's a little odd because there's no signage on Parker Road. You have to kind of get into it. I did add an event just because it was on my business plan. So on December 9th, I am doing Botanic Gardens for my clients. You're welcome to participate because I bought the minimum tickets already. We bought more than 50, so we're doing our clients there. But if you, that's great. I didn't in years past because I don't have any families with a lot of kids, frankly. So I just buy adult tickets. But if there are available kid tickets at about $3 less. All right. And with that said, there's a hot chocolate that goes with the ticket. So when we said $15, that includes the access plus a hot chocolate. Okay. So if you want to do that, Becky will have all of the marketing ready for you if you want to personalize something to invite your friends. It's a fun event. I think last year we had 160 people actually show up. So if you want to piggyback on that, even though the part of the office plan, we'll certainly piggyback on that. And then Tim many times will have some symphony tickets. He just walked out, so I know he's going to say that as well. A lot of things going on, and we have some exciting stuff that's here. So let me go through what today is, because as we start October, to me, how you approach the next 90 days in growing your business will dictate what 2018 looks like. And the better habits you get into now makes it for a better year in the next year. So I'm going to go through what makes a great year and what you can find and what you should be prepping yourself for now. First of all, there's going to be challenges. There's no question in my mind that there most certainly will be an interest rate change come January, maybe even as early as December. Well, remember, if you have listings right now that are selling, that a change in the listing environment when interest rates go up means the buyer has a lack of buying power. So, for example, if we go from 4% interest rate to 5% interest rate, then decrease in buyer buying power to maintain the same principal and interest payment. Take that 10%. You have a $500,000 home. To get the same payment, you'd have to be at $450,000. So there's going to be some challenges that you're going to need to impress upon your clients now. Why should they price their homes correctly now in October? If they anticipate a rate increase after the election, December, January, February, if they as the seller would say, hey, that's what it is, you're going to have a potential listing that doesn't meet the market standard. So there's going to be challenges to the market for sure. You have to understand new skills. Part of having a great year is to be kind of prepared. If we were going to go run a 10K race, we would spend time, our bodies in shape for the race. We would start slow and then we'd work our way up to get to the 6-mile race. Okay. So you need new skills. So what are the new skills to run the race for 2017 in real estate? You're going to need better pricing skills. You're going to have a better display. Some of you use RPR, some of you use the CMA from RE Colorado, which is, I believe it's Cloud CMA. Some of you different things. Well, you need to start to expand your repertoire, better pricing system. Now, the quick CMA in there is an easy way of doing it because it gives you kind of a list. It gives you a list of actives, it gives you a list of the contract. It's very visual. But some of you who go to Ninja understand that you can buy that system that has charts and graphs. Frankly, Kim Bauer has that system already, and she was willing to share it last year when she came back because she's a Excel guru and she could plot it on an Excel spreadsheet. So how you learn your new skill, whether you take an existing tool and improve it, or you use a different tool, you're going to have to learn how to use these tools. Will be the number one component that you will get asked starting now, 17. And the kind of questions that you'll be asked is, why did that home sell? Well, the easy, arrogant answer is price strong, which is what I give you. Okay, but the reality of it is we have to use better language with our clients because they want to just hear about. They want to hear about the complete trend in the market. Okay? You're gonna have to smile more next year. So you're gonna have to put yourself in positions to be a happier person. So what do happy people know? They know their life is balanced. They know that things go well. Okay? Camaraderie you have in the office is going to be more important, and you're starting to see it already. So we haven't had to do this for several years, but I know Becky and Ryan are doing it now. Joint broker opens with your competitors. You've got to learn to work together. If you're in a subdivision that's not getting as much traffic as you would like to have, you're going to have to reach out to some of these other brokers and say, are you thinking about doing a joint broker open again? Could we do that so we can all spend our advertising dollars directly toward a particular targeted date? That was a big deal 3, 4, 5 years ago. Not so much the last 2 years, but will that be something you're going to need to do? You're going to need to do it.
Jeff, kind of joint broker open house, would that be as if we each had our own property in the same neighborhood?
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, but it could be a RE/MAX listing, it could be a Century 21 listing, it could be, what you're doing is you're formulating targeted marketing event for a particular day to create traffic. And what you determine success to be, a lot of people just put that in terms of how many transactions we do. But I think success is measured in a lot of different ways. I think measuring your database and how it grows is critical to your success. And that as transactions slow down, you have to have some method for the behavior. And the only way to do it is if you have a database of 200 people, let's say today, October 5th, you have a database of 200 people, like by October 5th of 2017. So let's say you wanted to add one person a week. This is an example. Your database is going to be 250 people 12 months from now. So if you saw in your behaviors that you can watch your database shrink and grow, and you're adding your net gain is 1 per week, you're going to feel good about yourself, and here's why. By adding 50 people, potentially adds $50,000 to your income. By adding 50 people a year, we'll add $50,000 to your income. Just because you're going to build relationships with those people, and it's going to have an opportunity to do it. So success is, to me, is based on behaviors that you're taking, not necessarily just the end result. What we're closing this month occurred July, okay, is what we did in July. So your results for January, February, March, May, and so forth are actually going to be doing what you're going to be doing right now. So think about that. And then the recognition, you know, we each have to have hierarchy of needs. We each have to have our own method of receiving recognition. Sometimes getting the award at Smith is a fun thing. It's a very short-lived award, how do you have a self-actualization in your life that recognizes that you're a good person, you deliver good service, hold a lot of hands in residential real estate? So how do you create that recognition? Now, it could be a trip that you're going to take you and your friend. It could be, Jeff's going to Machu Picchu this week. So I can't wait for him to be the guinea pig and tell me what it's going to be like. So when I go there in January, I don't trip over the same stones he did. Right? I think my additions to the rock. Jeff was here. Little Kilroy. They'll have little Kilroy signs all over the place. But you have to have your own personal recognition. It's great that I can tell you you're having a great year, but that's a very short-lived, improvement. You have to say, how do I give myself enough satisfaction that I can keep doing what I do? And first I do it through my church for my family. When I can take my family someplace, that's how I do it. That's how I know it works. And you hear me talk a lot about those things. Well, that's my own personal recognition for how I do it. We all, though, have our own hot buttons that are a little bit different. So you've got to determine what that looks like for you. And if you don't know what that recognition looks like for you, it's hard to have a great year. So step one, no matter what your results are up to now, you're here right now. So start today as the first day of having a great year for next year. It doesn't matter whether you had a record year in productivity, ever had in the last 5 years. You're here now. Your business was a result of old choices, though. And when you evaluate, there's going to be some things in your old choices that make a lot of sense. Just listed just old cards have worked for a long time. You don't have to rethink the wheel. That has worked. Of old choices, and you may want to consider it like a new picture. Picture from 3 or 4 years ago. You may want to consider something newer. So it's time to move forward to be able to release the thoughts of where you are. And you want to have some personal challenges to say, what do I want to do? Kind of like what people do at the beginning of the year, they make these resolutions, but say, I want to lose 10 pounds, I want to, go to this event more, etc. You should be doing that now. You shouldn't wait until January 1st, all right? The seventh open area is a life of which you have to balance. Now, this does come from Dennis Waitley. We go through this in our goal line session, and we'll do that again. But I just wanted you to have those in balance, just on that slide, and say to yourself, if you put, a number next to each thing with 10 being perfect and 1 being, I need a lot of work, you just self-evaluated your own balance. You're going to come up with a score. Nobody is ever at 70, by the way, so I can happily admit it. But if you come up with a score that is at 35, you're probably not very balanced. We're between 1 and 10, with 10 being perfect, 1 being you need a lot of help, and you just ran it down. If you put 5s all the way down the sheet, you're probably not very balanced, because my suspicion is that wouldn't be a true assessment of your current position. You probably do something very well, something not so well. So I would encourage you to say, how do I move to a more balanced life? What do I have to do to have the kind of balance in my life that allows me to release what I do? That is the hardest thing about moving forward, is that you're doing things because of the way you're doing it. And I can go through over, put your watch on your other wrist, touch your teeth with your offhand. I can go through all of those exercises and you feel uncomfortable for, well, change makes you uncomfortable. Changes that are positive, and you don't see an immediate result, you have to be able to make some alterations in your business. Okay? So step 2 is create a progressive business plan. The aspirations that you have, and I wrote one here, I'm a terrific person, and I said a higher set of skills. I think you know that I know the market better than most people. Why do I think that? Personally, that I'm better equipped to talk about the market statistics than other people.
You're prepared and knowledgeable about it.
Do you think, and that's right, but do you think that doing the exercise on about the 15th of each month for you guys is an exercise for you or for me? For me, I just happen to share it with you, correct? If I'm willing to do that and have done it that way for 30 years, that would be a geographic farm or a particular town or a particular segment of the marketplace that you want to work, then you would need to have a better feel for that trend, right? You would need to know what that is. And those aspirations of you saying, than my competition, is going to be what you're going to, that's the electronic energy you're going to send to people. But if you come off and go, well, this is what my broker provides, that's not a very strong, confident statement. It has got to be something you own, right? So a progressive business plan, you can set all the goals you want, you can set all the rewards you want, but if you don't own them, or at least striving to be the best, then the business plan, you just have a piece of paper with a bunch of things that you may not follow. That sounds harsh, but it's there. Creating this gold mine for you, your mind is a target-seeking entity. So create the target you want, not just in business, but in life. What do you want? If you want to have an exercise program, if you want to have more family time, if you want to do something for charity or a cause, if you want to get closer to a particular religion that you're following, whatever it is, you gotta have a plan for it, because your mind will stay on that track if you give it. If you give it a plan, your mind will seek the path of least resistance. Always, 100% of the time. I always think of your mind as being that thing that sits on the couch and won't do anything unless you make it get off the couch. There's a big couch in your head sitting there. You have to know the value of taking the journey. Change and creating repetition of routines or habits is successful. So you have to know more about the journey, and you have to enjoy the trip more than you think. If your trip in real estate hasn't been that much fun, change the pathway. What better job could you have to make virtually unlimited amount of funds? If you work hard, you can make just about anything you want to make in real estate. Work the hours you want to work. And your investment in business is nominal. If you would open a Starbucks today, what's the cost of a franchise? Yeah. And what's the cost of the building to have the franchise house? Because they won't just give you a franchise, they want you to build a $3 million building, right? So if you had a $4 million debt service to have a really nice Starbucks over here in town, that brand new one that just opened, I mean, it's nice. And that they're now open from 5 in the morning until 10 at night. Why do you think that is? It's because they have to generate enough revenue to pay for the overhead that comes with that debt service. So what is your debt service in real estate? It's your gas, your car, the phone, right? But your debt service is low in relationship to your return on investment. That's the beauty of this business, and it's still that way. So let's analyze what that business looks like. Okay, do you have a product or service people need? Yes. There's 55,000 people this year who are going to buy and sell home, which means there's 110,000 opportunities for a commission. And that for 2017. Do you think people are still going to need you next year? Yeah, it's not going away. It's not going away. And then, how do you deliver your service product better, faster, cheaper? You mentioned a company earlier that has a reduced co-op. Well, that's their choice. That's their business model. Let it be. Let it go. Okay, it has nothing to do to affect you. Service at a competitive price, you will be successful. The service may very well be things that you're going to add. That's why we to our packages. So I want you to think about how you do it, and then how will your service and product change over the next year to 3 years. Stage your change to say 3 years from now. Stagers' costs are liable to go up as their demand gets higher. If you provide a home warranty plan, will the cost of home warranties go up? Likely. So you better plan for the service that makes you unique so that you have a better understanding of how to morph it as it goes. You don't, in other words, it's not an immediate change. You don't dump it out on the table. Okay? Factors on market conditions, competition, customer and client needs for 2017. I have already mentioned it. Pricing is going to be the client's biggest hurdle. We've had a 42% appreciation in basically 4 years. That being said, we're not going to have a 10% appreciation. Not going to happen. Okay? As inventory rises, prices do what? Go down. Okay? So inventory starting to rise. It's a naturally occurring event. Have to flatten out. If for some reason some number of listings automatically came away from the market, we went from 8,000 total units down to say 4,000, then the prices would go up again. Okay, but that's not likely. Inventory is rising. So with that said, they're going to need you to have better pricing strategies. Now remember, the pricing strategy is encompassing 3 components: the number of the price itself, the terms that the seller is willing to employ to get that price, and the amount of time that they're willing to take to get their price. Said in 2017, well, I want to sell within 90 days. That was their goal. You're going to have to be more price competitive and give the language for the seller so they come to the conclusion that my odds of selling have to be better to get to sell in 90 days because it's taking 180 days. And as I mentioned to you, market, there's about a 16-month supply of homes, above 1.5 million. A 16-month supply. If you want to sell within a year, you either have to do something with your price or terms to sell less than a year. Okay? So you need to know that price is going to be the number one thing people need. They're going to need to know about marketing. What you did to market a property in the 10-day listing launch is going to need to be altered. Because as marketing elongates, marketing time elongates, sure that you have strategies to meet the elongated time. You can't proverbially shoot the wad in 5 days. And we did that in a very hot market. We did all the marketing in a relatively short period of time to drive traffic to a Saturday, get the home sold, and sell it by Monday. As that market changes, you're going to have to elongate the marketing strategy. So you're going to need pricing and marketing as the challenges that they expect you to have. Okay? You're going to need capital, and you need to understand how to budget. So let's look at that. Typically, to me, is set out with very normal generic numbers. So 6% on marketing, 4% on promoting, 6% on equipment, 20% on savings, 20% on net income, 11% office costs, and then 11% taxes. Your personal business may differ from that. You may have lower office costs because if I earned $500,000 this year and my office costs were $14,000, it sure as heck not 11%, right? But if I only made $50,000, my office costs were $14,000, then my office costs are now 33% of my cost. You see? So you need to understand your personal budget. Now, if you don't have that kind of budget laid out, I encourage you to do so. You need to know if there's going to be money at the end of the tunnel. Something there for you. Okay? So learning how to track it, you want to review and have the easiest good data to track it. You want to track behaviors first, results second, which are dollars, and then you want to affect change midstream. Do I cut and slash it or create and grow? I see most businesses, not just real estate businesses, but most businesses, when it's not going the way they want, they cut expenses like that. And if you look at residential real estate in the Denver marketplace today, those of you who were here, in 2002, 2003, 2004, how many companies had a full-time trainer that had, say, more than 50 agents? Oh, virtually every company in town had a full-time trainer, a full-time marketing person. From a franchise, like a Metro Brokers, they had a national trainer at Metro Brokers at that time, right? Today, they don't have anything because they cut. That is a typical mentality of business. But if you were to grow out of it, you can maintain your services. Does there have to be a blend between the two? Say yes in amusement. Right? Because we're on tape. They can't hear your heads nodding. So I want you to think about, there are things that we should eliminate our costs. Right now we're evaluating a newer platform for property tours. That could be less expensive for you. Well, if that's the case, and you get a better product for a lesser price, you're improving your service, but your costs go down. So you're growing and you're cutting at the same time. That's the best of all worlds. So step 3, figure out what really makes you happy. Then be clear in your communication with others of what you want. And I'll just use me. I'm telling you, taking my family on trips is important. We're going to Ireland next July. We are going, my family, all the kids, Wyatt Allen, we're going. And it's paid for. And they've already gotten their plane tickets. This is like October, but next July, they already know. I'm off from their work in their trip, and I communicated to them why we're doing this. You know, how do you think their excitement will build as we get closer to that event? It's going to be awesome. Right? So that's what makes my life tick. What makes your life tick? What makes you go, man, I can't wait for this moment? It always is typically something emotional. Focus on what you want and it'll be yours. So step 4 to take action. You hear me say this all the time. This is a to-do business. If you're not doing something, someone else is, and they are getting the business and you are not. Do you think the guy on the corner who has that arrow pointing toward the coffee shop over here, do you think that coffee shop is getting a return on investment on the kid who is in the corner spinning an arrow? Probably so, right? They're doing something, right? A lot of people aren't doing it. And I think of it that, and we use Starbucks, they are getting so expensive. Do you think that the market is ready for a new low-cost coffee franchise? Probably. If people have willing to pay $5 and $6 for a cup of coffee or a latte to sit in a place, do you think that someone is going to build a model that's going to be less than that with a product? And if you don't think that, think again. That's because it's a to-do business. Someone's going to figure it out, and they're going to drive traffic to their business, not just via price, but by quality, and they'll have the kid on the corner. All right? They're going to do something to get people to come because they don't have the name brand recognition of, say, Starbucks. Well, what are you doing in your brand to get people to come to your shop? What are you driving people to? Things is, who are you calling? What are you saying? And what time of day are you doing it? And if you don't have those in your mind, you lose. So what's the most asked question in business? How's the market? This is a skill you have to improve upon every single month. The market is an evolving market. It's changing. But you know what's interesting is that I ask realtor groups, and I'm going to speak in Michigan tomorrow. I'll ask them the same question tomorrow. How's the market in Michigan? What do you think their answer will be 99% of the time? It's a one word answer to the most asked question that will never develop a relationship. It just, it's like you walking down the street and someone says hi and you say hi. You ever build a relationship with that person? Never. It's just polite. And we've gotten polite in real estate when someone says, so how's the market? Great. It's just like walking by them on the street. You didn't add any value. If you had a little button that says, ask me about the market, I can tell you the trends. They wouldn't say, how's the market? They'd go to the trends. They most certainly would ask you, well, what are the trends? Because that's really what they're asking. Describe the trends, you don't have a way to give them an answer. And if you don't have a way to give them an answer, you have no way to create value to build a relationship. Simple formula, all right? Understanding your core business. Our core business is moving people. That's our core. We're moving them into homes, or moving them out of homes. So what are all the ancillary stuff moving people? We don't sell homes. We move people. And when you get that, you can then provide services around moving people. And they all have different kinds of things. Your marketing would describe what your business is. The best marketing you could have is how it makes them feel to move. That's the best marketing you could ever have. So when you advertise a free service, a free enhanced service as part of your package, how does that make you feel? Are you directing your marketing to the right target? If I have a whole bunch of first-time buyers as part of my target group, and I'm saying, oh, we're going to have a luxury moving concierge move your IKEA stuff out of your apartment over to here, right? You need to understand that that's a service that's probably for a different selected group. It could be a service that would be valuable to someone who's a first-time home buyer. Think about the moving process, fill the void of the service, and advertise that service. Having the right image creates a brand in your business. So this is how you differentiate yourself from your competition. Whatever it is you do create the marketing, do it better than the competition. If you look exactly like the competition, the consumer cannot differentiate it. So you have to have stuff that is better, more creative on a consistent basis. Figure that out. We will gladly help you with how to do certain things to market you. But the formula of getting your name out 3 times a month in some capacity is still the success formula. And the formula of getting face-to-face with your client 6 times a year is still the formula. How you do that creatively is what will dictate how they differentiate you from your competition. For example, those of you who invited people to Cherokee Castle for our client event, what was their response to you? What were the words they used? Great, fantastic, thanks for the invite. It said something about you, because they know other realtors. What did it say about you to them? That we stand out. Something different, right? Do you think that memory allows them to keep you top of mind? That's really what you're buying in a brand, is to try to keep top of mind. 3 dialogues you can use. Would you like to improve the value of your home over others? Most certainly, would you like to improve value? So, price. Again, I'm coming back to price. People are going to want to see this. So when your real estate use, instead of just saying, we do a real estate review, you're going to want to change your wording to say, in our real estate reviews, which we do for our clients every year to make sure that they have value, we're also going to give you a couple tips on how to improve the value of your home more than what other homes in your neighborhood sell for. What are the 2 rooms at most effective price?
Kitchen and bathroom.
So you already know that. You already know what the answers are, and then you have to identify whether it's through an interior designer, or just your own market knowledge to go out, see what people are willing to pay the most for. What do they want in kitchens and bathrooms today? And the easiest market trend for you to find is go to 10 different builders, look at their model homes, and see what they added in. And make a little survey. Here's what Shea Home does. Here's US Home, here's Meritage. You go down the list and you just make notes of what they have in kitchens and bathrooms. That is what people are willing to pay the most for. Because they do thousands of hours of research to get that. Secondly, would you like to improve the equity position in your home? The lowest interest rates of all time that people are buying homes at. If you were to prepay your principal, you could reduce a 30-year mortgage to 13 years if you understand. If you understand an amortization schedule, you can show someone how by prepaying the principal equal to the principal payment, you can reduce a 30-year mortgage to 13.2 months, 13 years and 2 months. Now, if you go to somebody and say, for 10 years, would you like to have it close to paid off in 10 years? Well, yeah. Would they talk to you? They would. So you call them and say, you know what would help? Either pull out the amortization schedule you got when you generated the loan, or call up your existing lender and see if they'll provide you an amortization schedule. And I'll show you based on the month of your payment right now. Wow. Do you wish you would have bought more real estate in 2009? That's your dialogue for people. How many people wish in this marketplace they'd have bought more real estate in 2009? Hands not up, you're nuts. Now, do you think real estate will be cheaper in 2025? I don't. Put it in perspective. Why should someone buy an investment property today? So the same reason they should have bought it in 2009. You do need a lag of time of 7 to 10 years. You need a lag time, right? So if you put it out there to 2025, no one's thinking 2025. 17, it's an 8-year cycle. Think of it, okay? Building relationships for life is getting closer to controlling your business. Do you have it in your database of names? Do you have of motivation? So what do I mean by that? Do you know everybody in your database when they're going to sell? No, probably don't. But if you did, if you had 200 people and you know when all 200 were going to potentially sell, whether it's one day or 100 years from now, if you knew the answer to that question, pipeline of business over that period of time. So how do you get them to give that to you? Relationship, getting closer to business, and I'd say, you know, Cindy, you just bought this home. In a perfect world, how many years do you plan on living there? 5 years. Did I just add an anchor? Okay. Yes. You know, Cindy, what I'd like to do is I provide real estate reviews. Can I do that once a year for you to show you how to improve the value of your home over other townhomes in the Highlands? Would that be okay with you? She's going to say yes. So once a year, I get to meet with her as to what they're doing in kitchens and bathrooms. At the end of the 5-year period, am I top of thought when it comes to realtors? Controlling my business end. Because what am I going to say to her in 3 years? Are you still selling in 2 years from now? Are you still selling in 2 years from now? And if I know that, she knows I'm paying attention. And how does that make her feel? Remember, it's all about how it makes them feel. Creating the programs to stay close, which is our events. I want you to think about this now because we're going to be at a retreat. I don't want you having to think of that day, November 2nd. Oh yeah, I think we should do another party. Because you know what? You need to come prepared. My expectation is you should come with some creative ideas to the retreat to say, here's the 1 or 2 client events that I think make sense. And I want to give you 30 days to think about it. And I think you should really give me an idea. You should give me, here's the venue. Here's what I think would be neat to have. Here's a budget that works for it. Because I think the reason 8 of 24 people attended our client party this year from agents is because the budget didn't fit most of your needs. Fit your needs, what good is it for the company to do it? We have to do it so that the whole, right? We win if we're together. It doesn't win if we're not together. So the key component of the retreat is for us to rally around a couple, 2 or 3, maybe 4 events next year, buy into to say, we're doing that. And we're doing it as a group, not on the coattails of Jack or not on the coattails of another agent. So innovate these programs as well. Step 5, what are you grateful for? If you have not established your gratitude book in the morning, please do. Start it now. It's the best thing you'll ever do in your life. And then your attitude is a skill you can control. If you wake up with a bad attitude, don't come to work. Really, just decide, today's not my day. Jack already told me to have the day off. Okay? But if you come with a good attitude, whether you're sitting in the office or you're talking to people or you're going to get more business. Step 6, belong to a culture you can support. This is a very challenge for me as the owner of the company, frankly, because what I'm telling you is to evaluate our culture as a company. I want you to critique it. I want you to be able to say, we can do this better. It can't always just be Becky coming up with ideas or Jack coming up with ideas. All right? It has to be a joint effort. Collectively, you probably will say that any one individual in the world, collectively. But individually, it's better to a culture you can support. So think about it. Assist in this team growth and you will grow. So what does that mean? It means your business plans on how you grow your personal team. I think it's a perfect opportunity for those top producers to be able to grow their team now. I'm going to tell you there is. The business is going to be more challenging in 2017 than it was 2015 and 2016. In other words, listings are not going to sell as fast. There's going to be more marketing dollars, and there's going to be more challenges to the cost involved in business. That being said, do you think that there's some brokerage models and or agents in the marketplace that are not going to be able to sustain good marketing periods? And it's happened every single time the market's flattened. A segment of the agent population either gets out of business or moves to a cheaper model. You are getting calls now, inundated by calls right now, where people looked up our production and are calling and say, oh, my broker would like to talk with you. You're getting that now. And here's my response, because believe it or not, they call me. I'm a little floored by it. And I said, why didn't the broker take the time to call me directly? If the broker thinks that highly of my production, why didn't the broker call me directly? And they don't have an answer. They just have a teleprompter caller calling agents who have 10 million or more in production. And then they say, well, we'd like to set an appointment with the broker. How personal is that? I want you to think if you use that dialogue with your clients. If you had Becky Prouty just call your clients and say, you know, Rachel Croto would like an appointment with you. Your clients would go, well, have Rachel give me a call. So in this recruiting world, the reason people are recruiting is they know there's going to be a more of a mass movement previous years because there's going to be a segment of the agents going to make it. That being said, is there an opportunity for you to grow a team? The answer is yes. Okay. 7, negotiating ability. Knowledge of disclosure laws, new forms. We're coming up with new forms in 2017. We will have contract class for you probably in December, and we will do it again in January for those who don't make it. We will come up with the contract book for dummies again, and I'll have Alexis created during spring break or Christmas break when she's working here. All right. So we'll have the new forms for you. But do you need to know what the forms look like? If you need to know the changes, the nuances, sure. Okay, you can. We're doing that for you now, but you can also do that. Those things. I think you have to talk more about who's the right buyer for this listing. So when we do a pre-marketing strategy, you should have the profile of the buyer in mind. Okay? As people announce their new listings, you've got to think, who's the buyer? Leah has a listing out there in Aurora and Wheatlands, and I went out and looked at it. You know who the buyer is? It's somebody with like 5 kids. Richmond model with all these bedrooms. I mean, it's a huge home. Well, there's got to be some family out there with 5 kids that needs a house this big that's willing to pay $550,000. Right. You got to think who the buyer is. But because they couldn't get that 5-bedroom or 4-bedroom home with a big mocked up there, they couldn't get that home on the branch today. Couldn't get it. Too big a home. What is it? 6,000 feet. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a beautiful home. It's a beautiful home.
Yeah. But you have to start to think, who's the buyer? And you have to start to think, how does this work for me? Step 8, commit to accountability. The minute you hold yourself accountable, you've grown a new height. The minute that I chose to say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds and started measuring it, it happened. Lost 18 pounds. My pants don't fit anymore, which is a good thing, right? Held myself accountable, weighed myself, started eating more protein, voila. Here's the new Jack. Okay? Take a position of accountability with your clients. So this is how I do it, and it works really well. Hopefully you can steal this idea. When you have your properties on an online tour, the value of the online tour is the statistics that you get from the online experience. Every week, whether you're using MediaMax or using Tour Factory or using some third-party tour, whatever it is, it's okay, but the statistics that come from that is critical to being able to have an accountability with your clients. Here's why. You could watch and trend the online views going forward. If we know there's going to be an elongated marketing period, you have to create a system that you're holding the seller accountable, saying, all right, we had 200 online views this week. Typically, that would resonate with no showings. I have found in these price ranges at about 400 to 600,000, if you don't have 1,000 views per week, you won't get a showing. And that's in line with, there's 10 times as many eyeballs looking online as there are actually buyers looking. That means it would be, if there was 1,000 views, there's probably 100 people looking in the marketplace. Make sense? Out of 100 people, how many are going to pick that list? 1 or 2. That's how those numbers come to that point. So by me saying to the sellers, what's tracking on your online, you know what the odds of selling are. Very important to have that. Please be patient and flexible. Here, if you panic, okay, can't do it. You've got to stay the journey. It's not a leap. Be consistent with message and method. Keep improving on a regular basis. But most certainly, your role is to give the clients education of the trends. Watch this market now for the last 36 months or so. Are distressed over the fact their home didn't sell in a day. Expectation anymore. You've got to say it's going to be a 90-day marketing period. And you set the expectation properly based on the data that's trending, then they're not upset that they didn't get a contract in the first place. Okay? Stay patient, and you have to teach that to your clients. So step 10, victories that accompany your journey. There's going to be kind of wins and losses. Not everybody's going to do business with us. Not everybody. That the consumer is going to shop our competition as much as they're going to shop us. So you have to be better at the point of sale. I do believe if you leave there without the business, you are not the choice. That we are is only amusing us. We have to tell ourselves, if I'm not good enough to acquire the business at that moment, I'm probably not their choice. Because if I was their choice, they would say, stop everything, bring out the forms. Okay? Now, that's a sense of reality, but it also has to make you better at what? Asking for the business. And you don't want to be so pushy, because nobody wants to be that. You have to be so pushy to a decision. That will never get you the business either. So the challenge of this little success is to be able to understand how do I move myself is better. So there's an assumptive close, like you just break out the listing agreement and say, did I spell your name correctly? That's an assumptive close, correct? Okay. That is a way, and if they say, yes, I spelled it correctly, don't stop. Keep going. Okay? Just keep going. Methods of learning how to ask for the business. You can be a little bit more direct. Ron, based on what I showed you, do I look like the person that you feel comfortable doing business with? That's a direct question. Based on what I've showed you, because that word gives them a way out. You didn't show me enough, Jack. What else do I need to show you? Well, the brokerage that we talked to before does some online electronic marketing. You didn't mention that. I do that. I didn't mention it because it's not my top 5 things to do. See, now the question begs us to have communication. Based on the information I've provided you so far, am I the person you feel comfortable doing business with? You're going to get a yes or no. You're going to bring them to a conclusion. Okay. Do you have to be clear what's in it for the clients? Yeah. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're here to list your home tonight. What's your expectation? What would make you totally happy? And what do you think they're going to say to you?
Sell it. Quick sell.
Sell. Quick sell. Do I have to write that quick?
Sure.
I think I do.
Your definitions might be different.
Because if they think quick is a day, right, I may have to change that time set. You know, but most certainly, what's in it for me, it's got to be what's in it for my clients. Balancing and growing in 2017, you have to be present. You have to be more present with people, which is more face-to-face stuff. People are sick of Twitter and email and Facebook. They don't want to build a relationship that way. That's why what Kimberly calls is a stalker on Facebook, someone who just looks down the wall, doesn't post anything, doesn't say anything, or doesn't do anything. But they're stalking the people on there, right? That's me. Yeah.
So good.
That's why she called me. I said, oh, I saw you post this. Why didn't you like it? I said, I don't know. I just didn't do that. Yeah. So you have to be more present, more face-to-face, more figure out new creative ways to get face-to-face with people. The days of buying lunches and coffees are harder. People just have those times. Pathways to get more face-to-face. Right? Show up each day with integrity. The difference between a really top producer and a producer is integrity. It's integrity to yourself, it's integrity to the process, and it's integrity to your clients that they're going to get good information. And then an attitude of success is how you dress, how you show up. You're saying to people, if someone says, have you sold any homes in my neighborhood over the last year? The likelihood is probably no. If you don't answer that confidently, say, you know, I haven't sold any homes, and that's not why you're hiring me. You're hiring me to bring buyers to your neighborhood. You need to sole proprietor of hire people. Okay? That's it. They go, oh, I get it now. Yeah, because if I can get a price up, you don't want to rely on just my buyers. Very important that you understand how to have an attitude of success. Objections that are naturally going to occur. And there's lots of them that are going to occur at the point of sale. Because buyers and sellers are going to make choices versus the competition that they're going to get swayed either by a brand or by a service or you're not the top of mind. So if you follow these 10 steps, I'm convinced that you'll have a great year in 2017. But today is the day to start. it's not getting around to it. It's the day to start. Thank you very much for today. Let's go forth and, okay, good job. Oh yeah, I have a gift for you guys, I forgot, sorry. So, normally I hand these out at a retreat. Single one is for you as well. So, this is the newest book for Ninja Selling from Larry Kendall. This is his first book that he's ever written.
Scotland and Ninja Seminar, would you like us to?
If you don't need one, that'd be fine.
I think those are all out of bed.
I have some more in my office if I could only carry one box at a time. So if you miss one, just come around and